it was a mixture of four components. First of all, we started from a great product provided by Engine. Second, we built it with a strong team coming from GFT with absolutely strong capabilities and absolutely strong expertise in building a bank, right? And third, it was the contribution that us as a management team from SAL brought to the project, where we needed to stay true to the vision that we've had of launching this bank, and also true to the commitment and the timelines that we were looking for. The fourth ingredient is actually something that was the most unique, I would say, in this partnership. And this ingredient came from the commitment, came from the trust, and came from the chemistry that these three parties had together in order to deliver this amazing project in such a short timeline. So first of all, we are humbled and honored to see the reaction that we've had on the market already. We have already acquired almost 300,000 users in less than 6 months. And in the near future, basically in the next 2 years, we are looking towards 1 million customers. So I think there were multiple challenges, but I think what is interesting about this launch is that next to the technical complexity of launching a bank from scratch in only 12 months, we also needed to launch a new brand and to build a new team while we were building a bank. And then the complexity comes from having, all these balls in the air and trying to juggle with all of them at the same time. And it seems that even though the time was absolutely short, we managed to do a great job into launching this bank.
It's been possible to launch SaltBank because ultimately we started from a running bank. With Engine, you get all the pieces you need to run a bank kind of pre-integrated, and down to the kind of journeys and understanding of the operational process. And so instead of starting with a process map, what do you want to do? How do you want to approach this? We can run through a kind of tried and tested journey, and then we're just configuring it for the product, for the brand and the positioning, and for the regulations within a local market. Any banking technology project has some real challenges to it. It's typically the integrations to the existing infrastructure around, be that existing general ledgers and treasury systems within an organization, or domestic payment schemes. It's inevitable in this industry that we work in that you're dealing with 30, 40-year-old bits of technology at times. And whilst they're functional, they're not necessarily understood, documented. The people that built them have moved on. And so to integrate a bank in a way it needs to be effective in the market, there's always some gnarly challenges of understanding rather than a technology problem to solve. The whole point of the Engine proposition is to take the time, cost, and the risk out of these transformation projects. Too often you're talking a 2, 3, 4 year business case to get a system live because of the scale of the integrations, or you tie a big migration to it, and that is a huge cost to take up front with a real risk that nothing will be delivered from it. So by starting with a running proposition and trying to focus on getting growth into the business case as soon as possible, getting a proposition into market that's growing revenue, growing the business within 12 months is really important. And then, yes, you deliver the rest of the transformation, the migrations in phases afterwards to get the cost out of the business. But if you can prove the proposition and get growth into the business case early on, it takes a huge amount of the risk out of the investment decision.
Well, the regulation dynamic was obviously something that was responsibility of SaltBank. However, we needed to get a working version of the solution into some level of production within 6 months to be able to start the regulatory approval. So I think the first point there was that is an astonishingly short amount of time to build something that actually is operational to allow us to be able to work with Salt, that they could go and seek the regulatory approval that they needed to go ahead with the bank. From a technology point of view, I think it was probably mostly around there was other partners involved. We were dealing with local providers in the banking space in terms of onboarding and payments. So the classical challenges of working with lots of different vendors, which is something that we do on a regular basis. Well, in GFT, building new platforms and working with best-of-breed platforms is a really core part of our mission. We're heavily involved in modernizing technology for existing banks and building new banks, and Engine was an absolute natural fit. We're working with other core banking providers across the industry, where our expertise in how we integrate and how we manage these programs is why we're being engaged. An Engine we saw as something, a key part of the market offering that was missing. So we're delighted that we have that as part of our references and our strategy. I think the key thing, you can talk about technology, you can talk about the project. The reality is you need to have a really key business case and key mission and a really strong, tight-knit team. There was no real differentiation between who was Salt, who was Engine, and who was GFT. And I think on any major project, working together in a cohesive team with strong trust and a key mission is always the secret to success.